I'm reluctant to move on this debate, but let's have one more crack. James, Dan, what is the difference between your net zero policies? Beside the round figure itself, you're both moving in the same direction, aren't you? James, first to you.
No, well, not at all. The National Party have a plan for the future of this region, and we support the families that rely on coal mining. We are not putting a tax on 15 businesses in the Hunter who do employ 10,000 people directly, those 15 mines that are impacted by the Labor Party's policy. Go to their website, it's in the policy documentation. I'm not making anything up. But the Nationals, we have a plan. We support people that work in that industry, but we've invested over $22 billion into new technologies. We've invested at the Port of Newcastle, $80 million for hydrogen hubs there.
That's another 100. That's
Dale,
not supporting coal jobs.
Dale, I didn't interrupt you.
I didn't interrupt you. That's a dream, mate. That's a dream that you got in your parliament.
We're supporting coal jobs, but we also support diversifying our economy. In our plan, we want to double the tourism in the Hunter region. We want to see hydrogen become another industry where people can get the same paying job in another industry. We're backing our agriculture sector. We're supporting our defence industry and the Singleton Army base, manufacturing. The Hunter has a bright future. One person's job in a new industry doesn't mean that somebody else's job in another industry has to come at its expense. And that's the difference between us and the Labor Party. They're wanting to implement a carbon tax on your mining jobs. We're wanting to grow the economy because we know that a strong economy is good for families in our region.
Let's be completely honest here then, Dan. Will you do this? Will you, is what you're saying today here that you are looking at the slow demise of coal and Labor wants to manage that?
Whilst people want to buy our coal, we will sell them our coal. There's no doubt about it. The coal mining industry is as strong as it's ever been right now. The only thing that will dictate what happens to the coal mining industry is the export market. They will dictate that. That will be made in boardrooms overseas. That will be not made by any government here in Australia ever. Because while people want to buy our coal, we will sell them our coal. That creates good, safe, secure employment all the way along the area here. And what we need to continue to do is move forward and diversify our region, bring manufacturing back. We know that renewables are coming into this area. We've already had $4 billion put into the red zone here between Central Coast and Hunter. We've had that put in by the private sector. The private sector will push whatever they need to push into the Hunter, and that will create thousands and thousands of jobs for our area. Also, we've got the best wines in Australia here. We've got the second best tourism in New South Wales, the best energy sector, the best resource sector in New South Wales, and not to mention some of the world's most fantastic horse studs and most revered ones in the world here in the Hunter. That's what Labor's going to fight for, and Labor's going to support all those industries going forward in getting to net zero by 2050. We have the plan to do it, and we will move forward with that plan.
So as you move to net zero, though, these mines become more trade reliant, do they not? So then the safeguard mechanism kicks in.
Mines are reliant
Does it not?
on
Customers.
people buying our coal.
Exactly.
As I said earlier,
so these
we've only
mines
got
in the
to meet...
Hunter are going to become more trade reliant as we move to net zero in this country.
We are using our coal, Dale. We are using our coal until 2047.
Dan, why don't we burn the coal in Australia that Japan are building high energy, low emission power stations?
Dale, the private sector.
They're buying the coal out of Australia at 8% ash. We're shoving into our power stations in Australia coal at 32% ash. So I'm not going to stand here and be told we need renewables when we're not building and managing our coal-fired power stations to the standard that Japan are delivering power for their country with clean coal out of Australia.
Dale, at the end of the day, the private sector will decide that. That won't be up to the government that decides that. All the government will do, and it will be the state government. The state government will be the ones that make the decision. If it stacks up, the state government will say yes to it. If it doesn't stack up, then they won't. But this is a state issue, though. Well, this isn't a federal issue because it has to go through state planning.
You've got a zero target.
You've
got a zero target.
Yep.
And you're going to wipe out the Hunter and the miners' jobs.
And that's your opinion.
You're worried about
independent studies on this.
You're worried about jobs, for casualisation jobs. Well, I'm sorry, mate. If your policies come in and you're going to hit us with the targets that you're hitting, as if under Labor and under Liberal Nationals, there won't be any jobs.
You just brought it up, Dale. You guys voted in government. In Parliament, you voted in Parliament against same job, same pay. You voted against these coal miners that you say are the best thing ever here, which they are the best thing.
Your party did vote against that.
Both these parties did that.
I want to support coal-fired power stations.
But your party doesn't support coal.
But
because
Dale,
they don't
why
know
are you
what
Yes,
so-
we do support
why
coal.
are you so
You've got people in
hell-bent?
national. You've got Labor people that's on TV. You've got the Greens. You're preferencing the Greens. And what has the Greens said? Tomorrow, if we get the balance of power, we will shut down gas and coal projects and any future
Is
coal
that true,
plants.
Dan? Are you preferencing the Greens
I'm preferencing
here?
an independent. I'm preferencing an independent.
Where are the
here.
Greens on the
party's
ballot paper?
preference
The Greens on the my ballot, they're at the bottom four, the bottom five, because honestly, the bottom five to me...
They're at number
are
4.
all- yeah, the bottom 5, I said.
There's 9 candidates.
If you do your maths...
Well, I
the
am
bottom
doing my
5,
maths.
The bottom 5, so that's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that's the bottom 5. That equals 9, if you add 4 on top of that. So
Okay. All right. Glad that we can all count to 10 or 9
It's a
here.
nice way of saying that they are preferencing the Greens.
No, we're not preferencing the Greens at all.
And,
what I am
and
preferencing...
a Labor Greens alliance won't be good for the Hunter. But can we be
Well, I don't
civil
support mining
for a
equipment.
minute?
I don't support mining equipment, do I? I don't support mining jobs. But you know what I do for a living? I build underground mining equipment. I don't support mining
Okay, so you've got a
jobs.
vested interest here.
I
Let me
build
talk to
mining
you about
equipment.
that. Let
I
me
build
talk to you
mining
about that,
equipment.
Dale.
I've worked in the mine since I was 18 years of age.
Yeah.
And I don't support mining. My family all work in the mines.
No, I think we're pretty clear that you do support mining.
I support
actually.
mines, and so does One Nation. And so does One Nation support coal. And so does One Nation support building coal-fired power stations.
Well, let's look to the future.
They're the two parties that
Let's
don't
look to
support
the
coal,
future. If you
standing right
transition
there.